All right, welcome back. The People's Democratic Party's candidate Monday unveiled his plans on Facebook.
Yeah, here are the things he plans to do in order to make Nigeria work again.
A plan that will give Nigerian workers a living wage. A plan that will give Nigeria's youth a world-class education. A plan that will empower Nigerian women, reduce maternal mortality, and increase their financial stability. A plan that will cater for the elderly so our people are not afraid of growing old. A plan that will invest in our failing infrastructure. But above all, this is a plan that will help create jobs, because in my many travels across our great nation, the one thing I constantly hear is that our people need jobs. Without jobs, our people cannot afford to feed their families, and our children live in poverty. Without jobs, there is crime, drug use, and insecurity.
Well, the campaigns are on. Candidates now have the opportunity to tell Nigerians what they have to offer. And some candidates are exploring the social media as a campaign tool, using it as a medium to sell themselves to the electorate.
Yeah, what do Nigerians want from their leaders is the big question.
I want a leader that will lead by example. I want a leader with capacity and integrity. I want a leader that is responsible and responsive. I want a leader that will be transparent.
Okay. We really want our leaders to give us a listening ear, because that's only what we want. If they can only give us the listening ear, I think they will be a good leader to us. That's one of the qualifications for a good leader.
We want leaders that are not corrupt, that have conscience, faithful leaders. It's not the kind of leader that what they're after is to embezzle money. During election, they give people money.
Social media is where I go to for all my news and everything. So if every campaign that is going on, and if it's on social media, I will be able to see it, you know, from Twitter to Instagram to Facebook.
What I want from our leaders are the same things that we've always wanted: good governance, protection of life and property, and of course policies that aid self-development. You know, if they can give us things like this, I know they're human beings. They have their shortcomings, they have their weaknesses and things like that, but if they could give us these basic things, I think we'll be proud of them.
The most important thing you expect from a leader is integrity and honesty. Once you are able to get that from a leader, everything falls in place.
Every citizen wants accountability, transparency, good governance. And if these are in place, then the country will be a better place.
It's interesting to listen to Nigerians. What they're asking is not too much.
Yeah.
It's regular things,
I mean,
everyday
you took it
things,
right out of my mouth. I was
know.
going to say, are these things too much to ask? You know, lead by example.
Exactly.
Have the capacity to actually deliver on good governance, you know, responsive listening ear.
Listening,
you know,
honesty, transparency, and so on. They're not asking for so much. We have joining us now to discuss this, a PDP chieftain, Abiola Ismail, with us in the studio. Good morning, Abiola.
Good morning.
Nice
pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now the PDP has rolled out its plan through its presidential candidates, just as the APC also has done. But let's focus on what Atiku Abubakar has rolled out. Nigerians had mixed feelings. Some say, well, okay, it's a good thing, you know, because of the beautiful, you know, graphical, if you look at the documents, beautiful and all of that. Everything he said at the broadcast on Facebook seemed to touch every facet of Nigerian lives. But Nigerians are saying we've heard all of those before, and there's nothing new in anything he has said.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being here. Let me say that we just listened to Nigerians talking there and requesting and asking for what they expect from a leader. And some talked about security, some talked about infrastructure, some talked about social amenities. All these are things that are very, very germane to the survival of a citizen. You will agree with me that as it is today in this country, we have not had it this bad. The country is so far back from where we used to know. Nigerians of today are yearning for better feeding, better infrastructure, better education, security of lives and property. And as a matter of fact, all these things are wants of our nation as of today. And it's really heartbreaking that the situation is that bad. We have never had this bad. And what is responsible for that is that lack of continuity in governance. If, and I both say that if there has been continuity in governance from where former President Goodluck Jonathan left it, this current government has taken it away from there. I mean,
yeah, but when you talk about continuity, the government decided to implement the TSA that the Goodluck Jonathan didn't even implement, but it started. The government was able to carry out the complete some of the rail projects and all of that. Is that not part of the continuity?
Oh yes, I agree with you. There are other areas that are also germane to the survival of every country. More importantly, education. During the Jonathan reign, you have a situation whereby the former President Goodluck Jonathan created at least one university in each state.
Which a lot of people said they are not viable.
Well, whatever. But what is important is that he has created it. The states are very, should be responsive to the challenges of ensuring that these things work with support from the federal government. And as a matter of fact, there are other 560 thereabout secondary schools that was also created. Almanjiri schools were also created to tackle the issue of security, because we were talking about challenges of Boko Haram, and the people said, no, we don't want to go to secular education. We don't want to go to, okay, we want to go to Makrata, we want to go to Arabic schools, fine. Then all these structures were put in place to ensure that we tackle headlong the issue of security and the needs of the people. Because I remember what was the genesis. The issue of Yusuf, that time that was killed, raised an issue concerning issue of people not wanting to go to school, not wanting to do this in a secular way. Fine. And as a matter of fact, the government went ahead to tackle all these issues. But away from that, there was no continuity to follow it up and ensure that these structures, as put in by the former president, were.
But then again, that would depend on how strong those structures were, those structures that you talk about. I mean, when you say there was no continuity, are you saying that the structures that the PDP put in place before the APC administration came on board were strong enough in such a way that it was something that the APC could build on? But let's even look at, you know, some of the things that the Atiku plan, you know, talks about. Living wage. It's been an issue till date. The 30,000 minimum wage has turned out to be an impasse that we've not been able to, you know, move away from. And you know, world-class certification for Nigerian students, empowerment of the Nigerian women, 2.5 million jobs and all of that. But a lot of people who, you know, are observing both from within and outside the country, they're saying these things are rather still pedestrian, both on the part of the person who is promising it and the Nigerians who are saying that we want these things. That these are basic things that we really should not even be talking about. You know, that one would have expected the plans to be more, to be lifted, you know, in terms of saying, look, we're going to provide the kind of transportation, for example, that, you know, speed trains, you know, things like that, that ordinarily one would have expected that that's what Nigeria will be hearing now.
Well, honestly...
another same old, same old.
Like you have said, not on the same pedestrian, but the most important thing is that here, that you must agree with me that the government cannot provide jobs for everybody. And that is why...
It shouldn't even provide jobs for anyone.
Exactly.
People expect that government provides...
That is why
thank you.
The former vice president has put it in his agenda to create more jobs with a target on ensuring that private sectors were given opportunity, capacity acquisition programs were created for people to train minimum of 100,000 artisans that would now go in turn per year to train additional 1 million people per year. to give an opportunity to people to reach out to the grassroots in all sorts of skill acquisition, artisans, and what have you, so that at least at the end of the day, in each of the year, we have minimum of 1 million people empowered and giving jobs, and they will be giving support to ensure that they excel in their fields of specialization.
Yeah, and these are the real questions, because if you remember in 1960, for instance, all the Awolowos and the Ahmadu Bellos and Azikiwes and all of that, it was the same campaign promise of we're going to give jobs to our people, women empowerment, they will care for the elderly, create, roads and housing and all of that. In 1979, the Second Republic, it was the same campaign. Even the best democracy we would have had in 1993, it was the same political campaigns. In 1999, the same political campaigns. 2003, 2007, 2011, 2015, it was the same thing. That is why Nigerians are saying, these are the same old things. Nigerians, other countries, for instance, are talking about heavy investment, science and technology, things that are transforming, bulldozing the entire length and breadth of the country.
Well, the reverse is the case with our party. When we make promises, we fulfill our promises. And that is why I can have references to make to you about the achievement of the former government under the leadership of PDP. We ruled for 16 years, and we have put structures in place
and
for that 16 years.
And Nigerians were so dissatisfied, they had to change the government.
Well, unfortunately, that's another history for another day. But let me say that the Nigerians today, they regretted that they voted PDP out. Because with the situation of what we have today in this country, Nigeria are yearning to say, let PDP come back. Because our party, they have been able to weigh the options of comparing the former government and the present government. And I can tell you that it's just like taking us far back behind, not moving us ahead from where PDP left it. Governance is a continual thing. You cannot achieve everything in 4 years. But the most important thing is that where you leave it, successful government should have responsibility to carry on from there. And that is why, as a matter of fact, the points the former President Atiku Abubakar made, Vice President Atiku Abubakar made as regard to jobs creation, industrialization, youth empowerment, women empowerment, are things that are germane to the survival of our present country. Security is very key. Nigeria are so dissatisfied with not being secure with their lives and properties to these days, because as a matter of fact, we can't go to sleep all highs
the world has moving very speedily from resource-based economies to knowledge-driven economies. You would expect that that's what you want to hear from many of our presidential candidates right now. Education, I'm not sure that so much was said about education in the plan, but I'm sure since he said there'll be world-class certification, you won't expect that something will be done in that area. But let's look at education. Education is very fundamental. If any of these things, any of these plans or policies, which he says are policies and not promises, if any of those would actually work, what exactly should we expect from Atiku administration in the area of education? If we're really to move the country forward.
Education indeed it is really a critical point agenda in the Atiku plan to set Nigeria working again as it is. Honestly, it was listed there as a priority agenda there. And you will agree with me that we have not done bad in the history of this country when it comes to education, as far as our party is concerned. And the former president, Atiku Abubakar, was on the platform when all these foundations were being laid with him, with the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, then, which they finally handed over to President Goodluck Jonathan, who continues from there, And as a matter of fact, today, we have a reverse structure of whereby our education is getting decayed. The government is not focusing on it. There's no proper financing of the structures as far as education is concerned in this country, and that is not acceptable.
The PDP candidate Atiku Abubakar, many times has actually taken credit for some of the achievements of the PDP administration, especially when he was vice president under Olusegun Obasanjo, the EFCC, he was head of the economic team and all of that.
Yeah. Even the revolution in the GSM and all of that.
Oh, yes. Absolutely, and which he said is the main reason why he actually chose to use the Facebook platform to announce, to start, to announce his plan. But the APC continues to say that it is the rot that they met when they took over in 2015 was really, really huge. Do you think that Atiku Abubakar was part of that rot?
Honestly, there was no evidence to prove that. And as a matter of fact, if you are talking about APC government talking about rots, you and I know that this present government has much rot smelling around. Too much of rot in this government, people serving within the government, people who have gotten involved with corruption, who have not been prosecuted. And as a matter of fact, you talk about prosecution, everything is hinged on prosecution. And we have never seen one single person this government has prosecuted. Under the leadership of former President Goodluck Jonathan, former ministers have been prosecuted, special advisors have been prosecuted, and the people have seen that these are willing leaders who wanted to set a goal towards fighting corruption.
Yeah, but the EFCC has reported that they have prosecuted over 700 cases, including two former governors.
These are people that were set in place by the former government.
Yeah, but they couldn't conclude their prosecution.
Well, whatever. But what is important here is that we have people within this government who are corrupt, who have evidence of corruption, who have been established to be corrupt, and they were not sanctions. They were not tried. That is not the Nigeria that we expect. That is not the change they promise us.
All right.
And that is, as a matter of fact, that is not the prosecution they say they want to fight.
All right, we'll come back to this. Now, PDP's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, is not a newbie to the political scene. He has been in active politics since the early 80s.
Yes, indeed. And let's see his political journey leading up to this moment. In 1991, Atiku Abubakar contested and won the governorship ticket of the SDP for the new Adamawa state then, but he was later disqualified by government from contesting the elections. In 1998, Abubakar again launched a bid for the governorship seat of Adamawa state on the platform of the People's Democratic Party.
Oh yes, he won the December 1998 elections. But before he could be sworn in, he was elevated to the position of vice presidential candidate. The Obasanjo Abubakar ticket went on to win the February 27th, 1999 presidential election. Now, his interest in the presidential race kicked off in 1993 when he first participated in the presidential primary of the Social Democratic Party but failed to clinch the party's ticket. In November 2006, Abubakar announced that he would run for president, and on December the 20th, 2006, for the first time, was chosen as the presidential candidate of the Action Congress.
In 2007, he contested and lost in the April 21st presidential election. According to official results, Abubakar took third place behind PDP candidate Umaru Yar'Adua and ANPP candidate Muhammadu Buhari. In October of 2010, he announced his intention to contest for the presidency under the platform of the PDP. In January 2011, Abubakar contested for the presidential ticket of his party alongside former President Goodluck Jonathan and lost the primary.
On February 2nd, 2014, Abubakar left the People's Democratic Party to join the All Progressives Congress with the intent of contesting the Nigerian presidency in 2015 on the party's platform. Again, he lost out to President Muhammadu Buhari. This year, he emerged PDP's presidential candidate for the forthcoming 2019 presidential election. And here we are, looking to the scenes of 2019, how it's going to play out and how Nigerians are going to react to all of this. So when it comes to experience or knowing what the Nigerian politics is, certainly nobody's going to say Atiku Abubakar doesn't know or doesn't have experience or doesn't know what the politics is. But the point there is, let's come back to one area that so many Nigerians are talking about, restructuring. Atiku Abubakar has mentioned here and there that he will be interested in restructuring Nigeria, as the case may be. But if you look at his agenda and you look at his plan and the Atiku plan, for instance, he didn't really touch the restructuring, that the way Nigerians are saying it and the way Nigerians want it, as in the major restructuring of some facet of this country.
He actually did, honestly. He put restructuring as a critical point in his agenda and his plan to get Nigeria working again. And as a matter of fact, he specified to separate between the concurrent list and the other exclusive list. And whereby he especially focused on ensuring that the states are independent. Let the resources of the state be managed by the state, whereby the resources can be generated from each state, and everybody at the level of their various states can raise resources to ensure that infrastructures and whatever is put in place. Then the federal government at the center can concentrate on the national security, international public relations, international
items on the exclusive
and all
list.
what have you. All these are things that he focused on. Restructuring is a key agenda plan in Atiku Abubakar to take Nigeria to get it working again. And as a matter of fact, you and I know that that is one of his cardinal points that he has been talking about, to make sure that Nigeria is, we just have to sit down together, discuss why and what should go to where. And what is important here is that if we do not do this issue of restructuring, there is no how we can survive economically. So
what you're saying is that we should expect that if he gets it in 2019, then restructuring would be the very first assignment that he'll carry out. But let's put that aside. We'll try to break down some of the policies that he's talked about. He said that he will be proactive in attracting investments and supporting 50 million small and medium-scale enterprises across Nigeria for the purpose of doubling the size of our GDP, which is somewhere around 900 billion or so now. The how, again, is the question. And how quickly will he deliver on this promise, which he says that, look, it's not even about me, Atiku Abubakar. Nigerians really have to buy into this and, come along on this journey.
Oh, yes, it is very, very achievable. And as a matter of fact, that is why he has highlighted the economic plan, detailing the details of how he's going to approach it, along with reassessing and restructuring the government structures, like government establishment, focusing on agriculture, and focusing also on job creation, and more importantly, the issue of monetary policy and fiscal
yes, of course. He also talked about the National Open Apprenticeship program, through which, they will enhance the capacity of master craftsmen and women to train 1 million, just like you.
Just like I said, because that is the only way you can get to the grassroots and ensure that a common man on the street who has no job can get something doing. With capacity acquisition program, you have a lot of job and human development. Capital human development is very key to the development of every nation, and that is one of the key agenda of the former President, Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And as a matter of fact, he's also focusing on ensuring that everybody as a youth has an employment, and it can be at a go, but systematically at least 1 million jobs per year.
All right. It sounds really beautiful, although we don't have all the time right now, but from where you stand, from where you are seeing, also looking at assessing the past government, what challenges do you think he could face, even if he becomes president? What challenges do you think he could face implementing all of these plans to the latter?
Well, it is normal in politics, in governance, that you cannot satisfy everybody, but I guess that the issue of a consultation will take care of everything if proper consultation with stakeholders in the country and all the establishment is exhibited, of which he has talked about that he will consult. It's not about him alone, it's about every Nigerian, and he's prepared to consult with every stakeholder to make sure that we get to the promised land. For me, I believe that whatever challenge that will come, which will definitely come, I know challenges will come in terms of security, Challenges may come in terms of whatever again, maybe understanding about the policy because of time.
Okay.
Because execution of time of policy and all these things are very key.
All right.
Well, we'll have to leave it there. He has promised that he's going to hit the ground running with resilience and, well...
With all passion.
Yes,
But
and doggedness.
let's see how things play out.
Yeah.
Abiola Ismail, the PDP chairman, Amo Odofin, thank you very much for coming.
My
on the
pleasure.
program. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Nice having you.